F1. That's not great, but it's not terrible. Stay focused. race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
Superb driving. That's the race win.
And that's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
So as they climb out of the car, the Red Bull team are ready and waiting to celebrate a thoroughly well-deserved win. And Anthony Davidson, give me your thoughts. How did they accomplish this result?
Well, I think the track conditions just really suited their car today. Wind, track temperature, you name it. These cars come alive when the tyres are just at the right temperature. So the more easily you can keep them there, the better your race tends to go. And that's exactly what happened. Their car just looks so comfortable out there.
And I can see... So another fantastic victory for Red Bull today. Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today. What set them apart from the rest?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
It's the one that everyone wants to win, and they've only gone and done it. What a fantastic result here at Monaco. What do you think it was, Ant, that gave them the edge over the competition today?
Well, keeping their tyre temperatures up in the tricky wet conditions was really important. There's not much grip out there at the best of times, and it's 10 times worse if you're out there on cold tyres. So the way they kept the rubber in its proper operating window was a huge advantage today.
It's a fantastic performance from Ferrari. It hardly looked in doubt. So, Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
Well, they clearly have a car that comes alive in the kind of conditions we were dealing with today. It's a very balanced package in the wet, and what that means is that the drivers have confidence to attack. And having that confidence gets you on the power earlier, it lets you brake later, and can put you a long way up the road.
Now, the drivers are making their way out. We need Red Bull fighting at the front. They do an incredible amount for Formula One, and that's another winner's trophy heading back to Milton Keynes. Route to the podium as we speak. What a fantastic win for the Red Bull team. They performed exceptionally today, keeping us firmly on the edge of our seats throughout the entirety of the race. Congratulations to everyone at the team. Mercedes are on top form once again after an excellent race weekend. It's great to see them up on that podium once again. Looking at the podium, you can see that red suit familiar to fans across the globe. A world-class win for a world-class team. Ferrari do it again. already see the lowest average speeds of the season here at the Circuit de Monaco, and they'll be even lower in the difficult conditions today. 19 corners make up this famous 2-mile track, and with the rain, it'll be even harder than usual to get that critical heat into the tyres. Don't be surprised if we see a safety car at some point during the Grand Prix. It's not going to be plain sailing for our drivers today, although with the sky falling as it is, perhaps sailing isn't too far from the truth. And Anthony Davidson, could be a wet one today. Great to have you with us. What are your thoughts?
It is a touch damp, isn't it? Well, as a driver, there are 3 big things to worry about when racing in these kind of conditions: standing water, tyre temperature and visibility. Judging distance to the cars around you is really tricky when you're driving through the vast amounts of spray that these wet weather Pirelli tyres kick up.
Well then, after an exciting qualifying session yesterday, let's take a look at how the cars line up. Young superstar Max Verstappen starts from pole position, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Bottas, Raikkonen, Daniel Ricciardo, and Vettel, Alonso, Hülkenberg, Magnussen, and Stoffel Van Dorn, Grosjean, Sainz, Esteban Ocon, and Perez, Leclerc, Hartley, Sergei Sirotkin, and Lance Stroll. Gasly and Marcus Ericsson rounds off the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track. What a race we have in store for us today, with a competitive field ready to do battle once again. Hold on to the edge of your seat. It's time for another Formula One Grand Prix. We already see the lowest average speeds of the season here at the Circuit de Monaco, and they'll be even lower in the difficult conditions today. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Young superstar Max Verstappen starts from pole position, and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Vettel, Bottas, Charles Leclerc and Albon, Perez, Ricciardo, Stroll and Roman Grosjean, Sainz, Ocon, Lando Norris and Magnussen, Raikkonen, Latifi, Daniel Kvyat and George Russell. Gasly and Antonio Giovinazzi starts from the back of the grid. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out. Then let's see who can prevail today. Based in the magnificent Ardennes countryside, Spa hosted its first Grand Prix back in 1925. This historic track is loved by drivers and fans alike. So it's welcome to the Belgian Grand Prix. Spa-Francorchamps today, a circuit that spans 4.35 miles. There are tons of elevation changes along the way too. 19 corners making up this circuit, with 9 of those to the right and the remaining 10 to the left. This track is a great one for fans of pure speed. The average lap speed comes close to a whopping 145 miles an hour. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box, and it's fantastic to have you with us here today. But I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, from the moment qualifying's over, you start to feel the adrenaline in your body build up and the buzz in your stomach as you anticipate the run down into turn 1. It's all a bit like going into battle, and the unknown situation makes you nervous. Those pre-race nerves are a good thing. The day you don't have them means that you don't care anymore. And of course, you have to make sure that all the procedures are second nature to you, so that they're not taking up too much of your capacity.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and it's Valtteri Bottas that completes the front row. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Perez, Verstappen, Yuki Tsunoda and Ocon, Leclerc, Vettel, Stroll and Carlos Sainz, Fernando Alonso, Gasly, Lando Norris and Ricciardo, Mazepin, Raikkonen, Antonio Giovinazzi and George Russell, Latifi and Mick Schumacher. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track. We're here to kick off today's race at the infamous Circuit de Monaco. drivers will need to be on their top form if they want to take home that coveted win today. We already see the lowest average speeds of the season here at the Circuit de Monaco, and they'll be even lower in the difficult conditions today. 19 corners make up this famous 2-mile track, and with the rain, it'll be even harder than usual to get the critical heat into the tyres. So don't be surprised if we see a safety car at some point during today's Grand Prix. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. A fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday, and it's put him on pole. Sergio Perez lines up alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Russell, Carlos Sainz, and Hamilton. Ocon, Tsunoda, Magnussen, and Mick Schumacher. Bottas, Fernando Alonso, Guan Yu Zhou, and Gasly. Albon, Stroll, Daniel Ricciardo, and Lando Norris. Latifi and Sebastian Vettel starts from the back of the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track. Well, it's not going to be plain sailing for our drivers today, although with the sky falling as it is, perhaps sailing isn't too far from the truth. Anthony Davidson, could be a wet one today. Great to have you with us. What are your thoughts?
It is a touch damp, isn't it? Well, as a driver, there are 3 big things to worry about when racing in these kind of conditions: standing water, tyre temperature and visibility. Judging distance to the cars around you is really tricky when you're driving through the vast amounts of spray that these wet weather Pirelli tyres kick up.